I'm Steve Fishback with the Public Affairs Division of the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Department. Charlotte's a busy place. A lot of our neighbors are coming and going and moving. Most of us know the stressors of moving. And what we really don't need is to worry about the loss of our personal items and things that can never be replaced. Scam that's moving through not only
So as the lieutenant said, was recently signed a case, and we found a few have hired a moving company, and then they're moving. Approximately $1,700 in money and thousands of dollars in property. Of families' household items and over $4,500 in payment. And they just had recently left a legitimate moving company. So usually a deposit, and then the movers come and move the property, and then on that date more money is required at that time. Usually the truck has reported that there's some companies have legitimate looking websites with phone numbers. There's no contact, no. I've been in contact with the FBI and other states as well that are dealing with this same thing. Some of the different tips or some suggestions is talk to local companies and talk to family and friends that have recently moved and have had a good experience with a moving company. Do some background work over the internet and check these companies out. Some of the things that have been mentioned is the North Carolina or South Carolina Utilities Commission and the Better Business Bureau. Also make sure that the insurance company is bonded, which mainly means that they're insured. So if this happens, you can file a claim. And then stay away from making transactions through mobile pay or online payments. Use something a little bit more secure to do that. That pretty much covers that about the moving companies. Does anybody have any questions in regards to the moving scams?
Right, just that first example that you gave, you said there was a company out of Sarasota, Florida, and how much money in property was taken?
Approximately $1,700 in money and then thousands of dollars in property.
So they make off with the money you paid up front, and they take, and your property, your furniture never shows up.
Correct.
Anything on leads on these guys? Do we have anything at this point?
Yeah, there is some information. I mean, in the one case that I have, the three that came to move, I don't know at this time who they are, and I don't know if they were hired legally to think they're doing the right thing and the scammers are behind it. The FBI does have an open investigation that they're looking into this as well. So there are some names and information. Our crime analysis has been working really great with me to get information.
But no arrest, no charges?
No arrest or no charges at this time.
We have pictures of them, surveillance kind of stuff?
Yeah, well, we have video of the movers that have came, but no, like, there's nothing from the behind the scenes people.
To our media partners in the room, we will be following up with a press release, and we're going to include 3 photographs that we want to partner with you on and getting those photographs disseminated.
These
Persons of interest that we need to speak with.
What sort of recourse do the folks that have been victims of this scam have, or are they just out of luck?
Well, hopefully we get able to get enough charges. I guess the main thing is just working with different agencies to do that, to determine who they are, whether we can go criminally or the victims can go civilly as well.
Todd, I guess you mentioned the victims were. I mean, it's incredibly frustrating. Moving is stressful enough, right? You deal with these people. What's their mindset?
Well, it's very frustrating. You know, one of the individuals, they had to go sue and buy a bunch more of their clothing for his whole family. So yeah, it's frustrating. I moved a year ago, so it takes a lot of time and patience to get all that. And then when this happens and your property and money goes away, it's a very big inconvenience.
Do you know how these people found the companies that they decided to do business with?
No, I thought about that. I should have asked him how he found this company. I know I did a lot of searching on internet and they pop up, I guess, when you search for them, but I can get back and ask them how they found these companies.
So does it appear online, you said you found them online, correct? Does it appear that this is a legitimate company and that scammers are swooping in and getting that business? Or do you think that this is a company that's put up a website and is just out there to scam people?
Yeah, I can't say this for sure, but I think it's a fake website. But you go on there, it provides photos, information, and phone numbers for people to contact. So just on the face, it looks okay.
And can you just talk about how difficult it is for you guys to track down who these people are, but also for the people who moved and got scammed to figure out what the heck is going on to begin with?
Yeah, it is very difficult. Anything that's done, especially a lot of these like payments were done online, stuff was done over the phone, so we have no faces to go with this information. So we only have to go with what's given to us. So it is very difficult.
And probably an off-the-wall question, but do you know if they paid any money to these people in cash?
Not mine. Mine was paid through an online payment. I did speak with a legit moving company, and to get some ideas and information or whatever, and one thing they required was, or they had an option of cash, but not these individuals.
Any other questions for Detective Taylor? Thank you, Detective. And the detective was citing 3 different cases. Again, that press release that we send to our media partners following this morning, it's going to have the complaint numbers of those cases. It's going to have 3 photographs that, again, we want to partner with you in getting those pushed out. Those are persons of interest that we want to speak with as we continue our investigations. We had some great questions, some great points come in from you this morning. And as we attempt to continue to educate the community as a means of prevention of this, you can always send those questions in through the CMPD PIO email address, and we'll get those answered for you as you help us communicate and educate the community. Before we close this morning, any other questions that we have?
Yeah.
Yes, sir, Mr. Becker.
I'm getting in the way here. But the sad incident yesterday, on like the second time in a week, what do we know? A couple of brothers? Or what do we know about that, and what have we figured out?
Yes, sir, and I think you're referring to the double fatality at South Boulevard at Hebron Street.
Yes.
Okay, we do have members of our transportation division that I'll introduce now who are going to be able to speak more on that subject. All right, Sergeant Jones.
Good morning. I'm Sergeant Adam Jones with the CMPD Motorcycle Unit, and I'm also with the Transit Unit. So to answer your question, we did have an incident yesterday that was very tragic. 2 brothers were mourning the loss of another brother who had been struck last week by a CATS light rail train. Their brother was driving across Hebron when he was struck by the train and killed. Again, that was last Monday evening. This week, they had been memorializing their brother on the 1 week anniversary of his death. And they were conducting a memorial out by the site where he was killed. And unfortunately, the two brothers were also struck by a train while they were on foot, and they both succumbed to their injuries pretty quickly. Very tragic incident. Our thoughts and prayers go out to the family. I cannot imagine losing three of your children, three of your siblings, within a week to such tragic circumstances. One thing to point out is since Friday, we have had 4 fatal crashes. In those 4 fatal crashes, there have been 6 total victims. And in every single one of those incidents, there has been a level of impairment involved. So Friday night, we had 2 separate pedestrians that were struck. And then Saturday night, there was another crash where 2 occupants were killed. And then we had the incident yesterday morning with the 2 pedestrians being struck by the train. And again, in all 4 of those crashes, impairment was involved. So I'd like to stress to our citizens, please, if you have been drinking, use a ride share, have a designated driver, or stay where you are. That has been a serious issue that we've been dealing with, and our DWI task force is trying to address it, but it comes to the citizens. We have to take a role in this as well, okay? If you have been drinking, please do not drive.
Back to the Lynx accident. How were they standing on the track? I mean, obviously, with the train, blowing its whistle and doing all that stuff that they do?
So through our investigation and with our partnership with CATS, we have video evidence that suggests that the victims were standing on the tracks when they were struck. For how long they were on the tracks before the train arrived, that we don't know just yet. But as I mentioned, they were conducting a memorial for their brother. There was a level of impairment involved. They were lighting some candles and, paying tribute to him as best they could. On the tracks, however, when the train approached the intersection, everything appeared to be working appropriately. All of the safety features that CATS has in place as far as the crossing arms, the lights, the horns, everything appeared to be working correctly when the incident occurred, but they were on the tracks.
And you said since Friday, you mean this past Friday, there have been 4 crashes?
Yes, this past Friday. So our on-call teams work from Friday morning to Friday morning. So this team that's on call currently, they have had 4 fatal crashes with 6 victims.
From what you guys have seen, did they respond at all to the warning signals of that approaching vehicle, of that approaching Lynx train?
I can say that as the train was approaching, they appeared to look at it before they were struck.
That's it. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Thanks, sir.
All right, be on the lookout for that press release, and then if you have any other additional questions on any other subjects, feel free to shoot those to us in the inbox.
Release is going to cover both sides here.
Now, so we sent the release last night in reference to the CATS double fatality, and then we're going to be sending one specifically this morning on the moving truck scammers.
Thank you.
Thank you.